story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Frank Omalape. Our top stories tonight. President Goodluck Jonathan votes in Otuoke expressed his confidence in the ability of INEC. And also in this program, voters in 29 states of the Federation vote to elect their state governors for the next 4 years as collation of results starts. And reports of irregularities in the governorship and House of Assembly election coming in from many states of the Federation. And outside Nigeria now, President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, and Cuba, Raul Castro, made for groundbreaking talks after decades of diplomatic face-off. And the details now. President Goodluck Jonathan has again urged all Nigerians to have faith in the competence of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The president was spoken in Otuoke after casting his vote at his polling unit. Says he's confident in the ability of INEC to deliver a good election process for Nigeria and Nigerians. The president says Nigerians should have the same faith as it has in INEC to deliver a good election devoid of rancor to all Nigerians. He also added that the perceived low turnout by voters in Bayelsa State is due to the fact that the governorship election is not being held in the state. And our Vice President Namadi Sambu on Saturday joined thousands of eligible voters in Kaduna State to elect a new governor and members of the State House of Assembly. But while voter turnout in the city center was quite high, other parts of the state recorded a low turnout of voters. And now, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Raji-Fashola has commended Lagosians for coming out en masse to perform their civic responsibilities at the gubernatorial and State House of Assembly poll. Our correspondent Brownson Owana monitored election at Surulere and has more in this report.
Most Lagos residents seem to be having hangover from the last presidential elections, following the low turnout of voters in some polling stations. While others participated in the voting process, to others, it was an avenue to test their skills in football and hairdressing. Some voters, however, lauded the INEC for the speed in the election process.
Not at all, not at all. It didn't even take me up to a minute because immediately I gave them my card. They had to look through their register, saw my name, and they told me to thumbprint, which I did. And my data came on their system, and they just said that was okay. And a lot of people have been doing that too. We don't have any problem at this unit 007.
If you go through the record, here we have accredited over 257 as at this time. And for the fact that that has gone, by the time the voting proper starts, that's the only time you will know whether there was or there is a low turnout or not.
I'm impressed with the response of our people and so on. They were able to challenge them and they were able to tell them that this is a peaceful exercise. We don't want violence in any way and so on. In several places we visited, many of them actually they turned away when they saw us moving around and so on. So all in all, I think it's commendable thus far. And I think we should also commend our people, must commend the INEC officials and everybody.
Lagos State Governor Raji-Fashola, who spent less than 2 minutes in the accreditation and voting, says the fact there is no long queues at the polling station does not imply voter apathy.
In those places where INEC was there on time, right? In those places, people may have accredited long before you and I came, and that perhaps what we were used to, long queues, that we did not see in those places, and I stress that word, in those places, because we don't know how widespread it is, right? If we didn't meet long queues, we are perhaps then disposed to jump into the conclusion that, oh, people didn't come out. When in fact, in those kind of places, they've come out, they've accredited themselves, and they got back.
With the results of election expected soon, it is only desirable that the result will reflect the wish of the voters. Brownson Uwana, CoreTV News, Lagos.
And for many, the second phase of 2015 general elections is one exercise that proves that Nigeria's electoral body, INEC, is up for business and that electorate now have confidence in exercising their franchise following how the elections held a fortnight ago was conducted. Patience Ajiboye was in Ekpe where APC's governorship candidate Akiumi Ambode cast his vote.
Ekpe residents turned out well in their numbers to vote in the about 204 polling units in the local government area. In many of the units visited, accreditation was said to have started at 8 a.m., with both voters and INEC officials well represented. And at 1:30 p.m., voters, many of whom stayed back after accreditation, started jostling to stay in the queue to vote, while party agents and security officials tried to control the crowd. Akiumi Ambode got his polling unit 33, Ward 5 at 1:46 p.m. And after he cast his vote at 1:59 p.m., he says INEC should be commended for a job well done.
My polling booth at 8 a.m., which is totally different from what happened 2 weeks ago. And within 2 minutes, accreditation, I actually finished accreditation within 2 minutes.
Voters and party agents also credit INEC.
Everything is going on fine. The accreditation is fine, and people are turning out in mass. So everything is going on smoothly.
People are trooping out en masse, and they have been doing wonderfully. And the INEC officers as well, they are doing a wonderful job. And what inspires most is that the carry that is not delaying this time around. It's working as expected.
Everything is going smoothly. No any problem.
Yes,
they are doing a good job. They are doing a good job. The card reader was working very smoothly. I think before at around 11 o'clock, the card reader had a problem. So they have rectified the problem and it's working fine.
As applauses go to INEC, the success or otherwise of the polls can only be spoken of after final results have been announced, and both winners and otherwise accept the results as the voice of the electorate, even as accusation and counter-accusations fly about on the rate of irregularities or otherwise. Patience Ajiboye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
While governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress in Lagos, Akiumi Ambode, says he will accept his fate if should he loses the election. Speaking to newsmen after he cast his vote at Unit 33, Ward 5 in Ekpe, he says democracy and the rule of law is the principal thing, and so anyone who wins will be the collective voice of Lagosians.
Of course, this is democracy, and then there's always a winner and there's a loser. What is important is to deepen democracy. What's important is to let our people speak and then have their choice, and then respect their choice. Once we're able to do that, then we're on the way forward in the country. We respect each other, and then we respect our choices, and then we respect what the people say.
And our drama ensued at Ward 30, Unit 009 polling unit of the Lagos PDP governorship candidate Jimmy Agbaji during the accreditation process. A correspondent Oluwashi Adegoke has details in this report.
Yes, everything. I know, no problem. I don't know.
That was an argument over election posters at the polling unit. A little while later, for this governorship election, there was no hitch at any point in time.
The exercise is okay, better than before. The INEC have also improved. At least they were here early enough.
There is zero tolerance to violence, whichever way the election goes.
We can't use violence to run our democracy. It's to appeal to everybody to please be civil. We don't want violence.
Some units at Ijora Oloye at the last presidential elections experienced difficulty during accreditation, But it is a different story now.
INEC officials came on time. They came earlier than the last time, that was the March 28th election. So I want to believe if it continues this way, we are going to have another very peaceful election.
There's no problem. The two is working. No have problem here.
The exercise is so excellent. There's no problem.
There's improvement to the last one we did. It's peaceful. There's no problem.
Back to the polling unit of the Lagos PDP governorship candidate after voting.
Well, the voting process is a smooth process because all it takes is for you to collect your ballot paper and thumbprint. So to that extent, yes, it is smooth. I think it's really the accreditation, which is the idea, the card reader, that is the rate determining step.
So far, it's been a peaceful election, and Lagosians await eagerly for the announcement of the winner by INEC. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
And now to Ekiti State, where the House of Assembly elections in the state witnessed a low turnout of voters. The low turnout is not unconnected to apathy following the current crisis that has rocked the state. The use of card readers was, however, given a pass mark, even as pocket of violence. A report of ballot snatching was reported across the state. Our correspondent Rashid monitored the exercise and filed in this report. Well, we'll bring you that report in our subsequent bulletin. Ekiti State Governor Odili Fauci has lamented the pocket of electoral violence that was experienced at the House of Assembly elections in the state. Lamenting ballot snatching in some local governments in the state, Fauci says the acts of brigandage is unhealthy for democracy.
Violence in election is not good. Whatever name we say, whatever interest we represent, we should take it easy. It's only God that enthrones. You can only get to where you want to get if only God approves of it. So my advice is that we should find a way around these lapses, security breaches, and a lot of attitude of people on election days. It shouldn't be a do or die. It shouldn't be a do or die. That's my advice. Personally, I cannot comment on this election yet because I am in Afao. But snatching boxes and misbehaving on election days, it's not the best for this country.
And now to Osun State. The governor of Osun State, Ralph Aregbesola, has applauded the peaceful conduct of House of Assembly election in the state. Aregbesola, while casting his vote, however, decried the low turnout of voters, which he attributed to lack of enthusiasm to local elections. Aregbesola, however, appeals to voters to always come out and vote irrespective of positions.
The people, for whatever reason, are not as enthusiastic as they were a fortnight ago. Above all, with peace reigning, we must thank God and commend the people for the calm way they have conducted themselves. We must equally commend the security agencies for maintaining, to a large extent, peace and ensuring security too. So, except to ask specific questions, I'm impressed so far with what we have had today.
You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. After the break, we'll bring you more stories on the governorship and House of Assembly elections across the state. Don't go away.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Morning, Mr. President. Morning, sir. How are you, Mr. President? How are you, sir? How is the campaign?
We must learn to live together as brothers, or perish together as fools. Martin Luther King, Jr.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical, women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
I see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Thank you for being there on CoreTV Primetime News. If you just joined us, a quick reminder of our top stories. President Goodluck Jonathan votes in Otoke, expresses confidence in the ability of INEC. Voters in 29 states of the Federation vote to elect their state governors for the next 4 years as collation of results starts. And reports of irregularities in the governorship and House of Assembly elections coming in from many states of the Federation. You can also interact with us on our social media platforms like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can follow us at CoreTV News NG. And for live streaming, log on to youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space, then news. And now, but for some pockets of violence in some polling units, the House of Assembly election conducted in Osun State was largely peaceful. Osun State is one of the few states where only House of Assembly election was held because the governorship election had earlier been held. Rashid reports that Governor Alpha Aregbesola of Osun State, in company of his wife, Sherifat, voted at his Ifonfi Ward 8 polling unit 4 in Ilesha. The election was largely peaceful except in Ilesha Ijesha, Obokun local government, where violence was recorded in the early hours of Saturday, leaving one person injured with bullet wounds. Governor Aregbesola was happy about the conduct of the electorate in the state, however, condemned the reported ballot snatching in Ife and Ada Owodi, as well as the shooting in Ilesha Ijesha. Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed has commended the Independent National Electoral Commission for what he described as the improvement notice from the presidential and National Assembly elections. The governor, who spoke to newsmen in his Shire hometown after casting his vote in company of his wife at the Adibiokon polling unit of the Feludi local government, says the performance of INEC has been better than what was observed during the presidential election. He, however, expressed his worry over the early low turnout of voters, which later witnessed an upsurge.
We have recorded a low turnover compared to the first one, but as far as the exercise is concerned, it's going on peacefully, and we hope that it's going to be concluded peacefully. From what I saw on the television, I think the low turnout is a national thing. So maybe people might come out later, but I just feel that there isn't too much enthusiasm like we had in the first election. But be it as it may, it's being carried on peacefully. My chances are hinged on the fact that we've always prayed to God and we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it victorious for us. Of course, a very big justification, because that's the only way you can truly ensure that it's only the registered voters that vote.
So what's your message to the parents?
Parents should take exercise like this very seriously, because the concept of governance is something that affects everybody. So we should all be involved in the process that chooses who is going to manage our affairs.
Yes, sir. Please, what are the lessons you think Nigerians should learn from this?
Power has been given back to the people, and people should recognize this power and use it well.
But while voters have lamented the low turnout that characterized the governorship and National Assembly elections in Kwara State, some of those who spoke to CoreTV News says the low turnout is a source of concern.
My assessment here today is I just feel there's a low turnout of people coming to vote. I don't really know why, but the turnout is so low compared to the last election we had, which was the presidential election. You can see by yourself that people are not really coming out to vote for the governorship election. So that's just my assessment. We expect that the people of the state should come out at this time, because this really concerns them. This has to do with them directly. So we expect that they should come out to vote. But it's just the other way around, especially where we are now. The turnout is just too low. That is just my assessment.
The only thing I can say is people did not come out like the presidential election. But we thank God everything goes smoothly. I can't really say people believe on the presidential election than the governorship election. So they can decide. And most of people in GRA, I expect much more crowd here than what I'm saying. But it happens like that.
I can't compare this with the presidential election because, you know, the presidential election, people came out with full force because everybody wants change. But this time around, I don't know, maybe the spirit have gone down, but the few of us that turn up want the full actualization of democracy and change in our community. That's why we are here. And we are waiting to ensure that our food counts. Yes, the turnout is very low because some people's spirit have gone down. But we refuse to allow our spirit to come down because we have encouraged ourselves to ensure that we enthrone democracy, true democracy in Nigeria.
Then why the elections in Plateau State, which started as early as 8 a.m. in most polling centers and just went on peacefully, as the turnout appeared to be massive as it was seen during the presidential and National Assembly elections. The major contenders for the governorship seat, Simon Lalong of the APC and that of the PDP, Fajok, signed a peace pact some days back to ensure that their supporters remain law-abiding during and after the elections. One of the major features of the elections today in Plateau State is that of number of ballot papers brought to the polling units, which are far lower than the actual number of registered voters.
Yes, I have just been told that here they registered 1,000, but that the numbers of ballot papers given to them is less than the registered voters. But the assurance is that when the people exhausted those ones, they will go back again and do another one. So we are sure that the election, nobody will disenfranchise.
Like the president said, that the blood of there is no blood that is worth being shed, you know, in order to perpetuate anyone in office. And that's what we have striven to establish here in Mangu local government. We have continued to promote politics without bitterness and to ensure that people continue their normal friendships and relationships past election time. That has been our message.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, this election has arranged for months ago. People went for electioneering campaign, and today is the final verdict. People have come in,
have been accredited and they are waiting for when to vote.
And now the PDP governorship aspirant running mate Yuji Gowak has expressed delight with the turnout of voters at the gubernatorial polls. Yuji stated this to newsmen in Kowan polling unit Pan West District, Kanke, shortly after casting his vote alongside his wife. He said he is optimistic about the success of PDP in the polls, considering the mass turnout of people who have come to exercise their franchise. And now the All Progressive Congress has alerted the security agencies to cases of violence and disruption of voting in the several areas of Lagos metropolis and Rivers and Ondo State as well. This is said it was a view to urging them to swing into action to alleviate the situation. In a statement issued in Lagos by its National Publicity Secretary La Mohammed, the party claimed that in many parts of Lagos, thugs armed by the PDP are on rampage, shooting sporadically to scare away voters and cutting away voting materials. He said the development confirmed earlier statement by the APC that the PDP has been engaging in gun running in Lagos with a view to arming thugs to disrupt the polls. APC also listed similar cases in Rivers and Ondo State. And now the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room has confirmed incidents of election-related murders in at least 6 states where governorship elections are holding. The coalition identifies Lagos, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Delta, Ebonyi, and Kaduna states that have recorded cases of electoral violence in the last few hours. It said in a statement issued in Abuja that its field observers have filed in report of a wider pattern of politically motivated violence, arson, and hijacking of electoral materials. The CSO coalition also noted that there are several cases of electoral irregularities, including accreditation of voters without valid permanent voters card in Akwa Ibom State. It equally disclosed that in Wadata polling unit 011 in Taraba State, voting commenced without accreditation, while in Rogo Ward in the same state, accreditation and voting are taking place simultaneously, contrary to provisions of electoral guidelines. Civil Society Situation Room added that it also has reports of mass ballot firms printing attempts to bribe electoral officials and the use of security officials to subvert the electoral process. The group wants INEC to seriously consider cancelling results from the affected polling units. And our reports reaching us from the Bariga area of Lagos say suspected political thugs have been shooting sporadically in the Abule Ocha area of Bariga local government development area in Lagos State. The shooting is said to have disrupted the accreditation exercise in the area as officials of the Electoral Commission, voters and residents camp out for safety. Reports of irregularities have dotted the electoral process in Plateau State. The reports indicate that already firms printed ballot papers were being preferred to various locations in Basa and Riyom local government areas. Reports also says APC agents at Dudorowa and Zawan were harassed and sent away from the duty post. And our domestic observers say there has been a lot of improvement in the processes and conduct of the governorship and House of Assembly elections in Lagos State compared to what was witnessed during the presidential and National Assembly elections. Ayo Opaduku and Joe Oke Udumaki were part of a domestic observer group who made a stopover at Ward 5 Ekpe local government said INEC should be commended. They added that they have no report yet of any form of electoral malpractices in any of the 10 local government areas they have visited so far. Reports also reaching us from Ondo State indicate that election materials have been snatched at Ugbo 2 in Ilaje local government area. Hoodlums were said to have attacked INEC officials, snatching all electoral materials meant for the area and kidnapped the INEC staff. An INEC source confirmed the incident but added that the kidnapped staff have been released but the materials are yet to be released. Meanwhile, information has it that INEC has cancelled voting in the area and that any voting or result from the area will be rejected. Kano State Commissioner Police Aderounle Shinaba has reacted to the conduct of the governorship and House of Assembly elections in the state. The police boss who spoke to newsmen after his inspection tour of polling units in parts of the state said the elections have been largely peaceful and devoid of any violence, especially in all the areas he visited.
That people are going about voting and there is no any problem from anywhere. You have gone around together. I think this is the fourth following this we have gone together. And I think from our own, the general observation is that everything in the state is going on smoothly as planned. I think we are in a Tukunta, and you saw voting going on. But even if there's, what we said is that the essence of human being, right, is to be able to solve problems. If there is a minor problem in the morning, and this problem is solved by the time we got there, and people are voting smoothly, peacefully, you can see even some small boys playing around, which means there is no problem as far as I'm concerned.
Kano State Police Commissioner Ibrahim Idris, not Aderounle Shinaba. Away from that now, the Commandant General of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense called on Saturday to monitor the governorship elections in 3 states in northwest Nigeria. These are some of the parts of the country that erupted in post-election violence in 2011 polls. Commandant General Adi Abolunwe witnessed Saturday's exercise in some part of Katsina, Kano and Kaduna State and concluded that the process was peaceful in the areas visited. This he noted in spite of a few cases of technical hitches at some of the polling units. Correspondent Basi Aye reports eligible voters were not deterred by the hitches as they turned out en masse in the northwest states to exercise their franchise. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. We take a break now. We'll be back shortly with more. Do join us again.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Well, I'll now join Sheyi Degoke for a special report on what's the election was like earlier today in Lagos.
This is the busy and bubbly Ikeja that is devoid of its usual hustle and bustle. The popular Ojota, noted for its frustrating traffic gridlocks, is a completely different place. On a normal business day in Lagos, one will spend nothing less than 2 hours or more from Berger to Apapa. But on a day like this, it took far less. Many Lagosians will prefer this kind of traffic on a daily basis, but as the saying goes, if wishes were horses, beggars will certainly ride.
Yeah, we have a free movement like this, and everybody is going without any problems, any accidents, any embarrassment, and all that. It is very good.
This road, particular, you only have heavy traffic on Friday towards the weekend. But now, even as of yesterday, it was free because they asked everybody in Secretariat to close by 2 p.m. or so.
It's been very free. I actually drove myself from Igbeda to Ikeja this morning to vote, and I mean, in 5 minutes I was here.
But one could only wish for a day like this in Lagos. The hunt for the daily bread by all will ensure that it's nothing but a dream. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
And outside Nigeria now, substantive talks between the U.S. and Cuba are expected when the summit of the Americas resumes in Panama City. The meeting between President Barack Obama and Raul Castro will be the first top-level negotiations between the two countries for more than half a century. Obama has signaled he is prepared to take Cuba off Washington's list of state sponsors of terrorism. The two leaders met briefly at the summit's opening ceremony. They shook hands in their first encounter since a thaw in relations began in December. But these historic talks could be overshadowed by tensions between Venezuela and the U.S., according to a report. Ahead of the summit, Obama told Latin American leaders that the dates when his country could freely interfere in regional affairs are past. The U.S. broke off diplomatic relations with Cuba in 1959 after Fidel Castro and his brother Raul led a revolution, toppling U.S.-backed President Fulgencio Batista. At past summit of the Americas, which bring together the leaders of the North, Central and South America, the U.S. has come in for criticism for its embargo against Cuba and its objection to Cuban participation. The 7th summit is the first which Cuba is attending. Much of the attention will be focused on the body language between the former foes. The U.S. president is expected to raise the issue of political reform in Cuba. Human rights are also of concern to Washington. Well, just before we go tonight, a recap of our major headline. We told you that President Goodluck Jonathan votes in Otuoke expresses confidence in the ability of INEC. We also brought to you that voters in 29 states of the Federation vote to elect their state governors for the next 4 years as collation of results starts. And finally, reports of irregularities in the governorship and House of Assembly election coming in from many states of the Federation. And that's it on CoreTV Primetime News tonight. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. On behalf of the entire news crew, have a good night rest. But don't forget to join us at 1 in the night for a live coverage of the 2015 governorship election. Thank you for being here.